I guess my topic kind of goes with that. It's the marathon mindset. That's where the marathon comes in, to be honest. Weight and you want to gain weight.
Right.
Okay. আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Assalamualaikum.
স্বাগতম আপনাদের সবাইকে আমার রানিং স্টোরিজে। আজকে আমাদের সাথে আমার কলেজ ফ্রেন্ড আলমগীর, সেও একজন দৌড়বিদ রানার। So he's here with us today and I'm going to talk to him about his running. Please welcome Alomgir Hossain. কিতা খবর দোস্ত, ভালো আছেন?
Kida, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, this is so good to see you after long. I know we have all been busy with our life and work. How are you?
Good. Yeah, it's great seeing you. How's everything going? How's family?
Family is good, Alhamdulillah. How's your family?
They're doing good. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. And how is your running going?
Running is going well, and I took a break last couple of weeks. I did a marathon in Maine, Bar Harbor. I just finished that, so I'm just taking that break. I think I'm gonna go back to fitness for a while.
Very good, Dosto. Nice to know. We're gonna get back to the marathon. আমি তোমারে পয়লা থেকে শুরু করি। So for our audience, tell about yourself. তুমি তোমার সম্পর্কে আমরা একটু ইন্ট্রোডিউস করো বা দর্শক যারা আছেন, tell them about you, what you do, and
Yeah, I live in New York. I've been living in New York for past 27 years.
okay.
What I do, I do real estate. I'm focusing on real estate, and I'm also building a business with my wife, which is an architect company, and mostly involved with my family and running. That's it. That's a very simple life.
Very good, Dosto. Yeah, I mean, with all that which you do and then running on top of that, I'm sure it's a lot. But I wanna focus on your running today on our show. And তোমার কাছ থেকে আমি জানতাম চাই কিলা তুমি দৌড় শুরু করছো, like how did you start running? Like what made you to start running?
Well, it's a funny thing. I actually, I'll tell you a little bit of backstory. I started going to gym when I was 17 or 18-year-old, and one of my friends introduced a book called Body for Life. And at that time, my main concern was to gain weight because I was very skinny.
People want to lose weight and you want to gain weight.
Right.
Okay.
So, and my friend wanted to lose weight. And so he introduced me this book, and he was like, let's try this book. And I was like, what is the point of going to gym? I want to gain weight. And so he was like, there is a section where this book talks about how you could gain weight while going to gym. And so we started doing practicing that book. And in that book, it required you to run 3 days of the week. And that's running 3 days, 20 minutes per day.
I see.
And that was the exercise. That's when I started running. My running started on treadmill, basically. And as a kid, you always run. I mean, you do play sports and all these things. That's always the case. But just to run for running, that's when I started. So there was from that on, I always was involved on and off with fitness. That never went away, and there was a good result. Actually, us going to the gym, I gained about 20 pounds.
Oh, so okay.
Gaining 20 pounds. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So gaining 20 pounds is not like, of course, when you go to gym and you gain 20 pounds, you are not gaining fat, you are gaining muscles. So and it was great. And I had a very good feedback from it. So from there on, I never stopped. I always went on and off in the gym. So I would say in 2017 or 18, I read a book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. If anybody wants to test their minds, what he can do, I would suggest go read that book. So I read that book, and then I read another book called 12 Rules for Life. So combination of those two books, it kind of inspired me to do something out of my comfort zone. And that kind of motivated me to go outside and do the running.
When you say running, is it marathon running you're talking about, or just running itself?
So I wanted to try something different. I went outside and I started running. I did not have any exposure to run outside.
Running in
I
treadmill,
always had this
indoor.
treadmill, right?
Right.
I would run on treadmill for 7-8 miles, and that was okay. But I was like, okay, now I'm gonna try outside.
Right.
And then when I did outside, it was a completely different ball game because I couldn't run. I used to run. I could run many miles on treadmill, but I couldn't run like
Outside. The whole
1
elevation,
or
yeah,
2 miles.
it's not the same. Yep.
It was a completely different experience. I was like, why I can't run? Because treadmill, the belt is kind of
Right.
pushing you,
Exactly. That's true. That's true. Yep. So
and over
I'm not
there, you have to force yourself to run.
right.
You have to get into. So and I did not
So
have any
your
experience
journey,
of that.
so your journey started with gaining fitness. I mean, gaining weight. So you started as a fitness gaining program, running a part of your fitness routine, and through that you found that you enjoy running, right? So if I got this correct, so you started running as a part of your fitness regimen. So you started running with the treadmill in the beginning, and then
I started enjoying running after reading the book. I never used to enjoy running
yeah.
on treadmill.
So what is that thing that made you enjoy? I mean, the book.
So
What is the connection?
the
So
book,
running outside give you that connection, or what is that connection?
the book talks about pushing your mind. The book talks about how you could make pain a friend to you.
I see.
And the book talks about when you have that pain, you are growing. And so that kind of made me change the whole perspective about when you are having pain, when you are in the moment of giving up, when you are running.
Right.
And so that he kind of changed
So
that thinking process.
right. So I guess my topic kind of goes with that. Is the marathon mindset. That's where the marathon comes in, to be honest. And I
Yeah.
find
So
out that's my question to you. So the next question I was gonna get to you is like, when did you start thinking about running a marathon? Like when was that time frame? And if you want to talk us about your training and
yeah,
your
of course,
first marathon
that's
experience.
so that's the coincidence. So I did I was like, okay, I'm gonna run outside. So I started running outside, and I was like, let me just participate on a race. So when I participated in a race, that was a 10K.
Okay, so your
And it
first
was a
run officially was 10K.
10K, and it was with the NYRR.
Okay, New York
And
Road.
that's when I got
So
introduced
যারা
with
জানে না তাদের জন্য বলতেছি আর কি, নিউ ইয়র্ক রোড রানার্স, NYRR
right.
is for নিউ ইয়র্ক রোড রানার্স। এখানে যারা নিউ ইয়র্কে আছে তারা জানে যে নিউ ইয়র্ক সিটি ম্যারাথন যেটা হয় সেটা থ্রু নিউ ইয়র্ক রোড রানার্স। Go ahead, দোস্ত।
Right. So I did that, and that's when I got introduced to that NYRR, and I downloaded the Strava, and that's when I got introduced to that. After running that race, and I think you remember, I also talked to you about it, and after running that race, I I think it was in October or something. And there was this virtual marathon. It was showing the sign up for the virtual marathon on Strava.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll sign up. So I signed up and I left it. So October, I think the run was the beginning of October. And I was running. It was never the case that I would run a marathon. So what happened was, like, on the day when it was expiring, that, hey, you have to finish your virtual marathon or else it's not going to be counted. So I woke up on that day, and that popped up, and that I had to. So I worked night before, because I used to work in restaurant, and I worked night before. I came home around like 1 or 2 o'clock, and I woke up around, like, I would say 8-9 o'clock. So that's when I realized like I have to finish the marathon today. If I don't finish it, then it's not gonna be counted. And so I just told Dilara, my wife, hey, I'm gonna go try this. And I took some almond nuts, and I took some water with me. And I went to Cunningham Park, which is like 5 minutes away from here. And I started running. And it took me 5.5 hours. And
That's amazing, Dosto. But I just want to make sure that nobody tries that. I believe you did not have any proper training or any plans to run the marathon on that day you ran. But
yeah,
it definitely takes a lot to just go out there and run 26.2 miles. So anybody who's listening, don't be like Alomgir and go out there and run
yeah.
26.2
So
miles.
that's the messed up part about David Goggins. That's what he did.
Not everybody's David Goggins. I know who you are talking about. He's just a different type of guy. He's a army. I think he's a Navy SEAL, and he goes
Yeah,
through all
yeah,
these crazy push-ups and pull-ups. But it's fantastic that people body and mind can do. I mean, it's always
yeah.
amazing to me. I mean, who knew I would be able to run 26.2 before my marathon? I remember when I first started running a mile, I was like, wow, 1 mile. Never thought. Then 3 miles, 4 miles. Like it just feels different, right? And you get to that point, then you realize, wow, I never thought I'd be able to do it. But that's what it is, coming out from that comfort zone. When you reach out to that comfort zone, you get to see the change, and that's the mindset we're talking about. But going back to your dosto, it's unbelievable what you have done. But that was your first marathon, just going out there and finishing it. Unbelievable, amazing. But what was your official marathon though? After, is it so you didn't train anything, nothing was done, you did your first marathon without training, 5.5 hours, right?
Right, 5 hours and 35 minutes. And funny thing is that I actually recorded that before I went to run that marathon because I wasn't sure how it will turn out. And yeah, it's available in my channel. I recorded that
The whole
video, and
journey.
then
Uh-huh.
not the whole journey. Basically, that day right before the run, I recorded that
Okay.
clip, and I shared that in the. So after that, I didn't run for like almost 6 months because it was. I think I went through that kind of a after that run. It just I kind of shut off on running. And the next
Mhm.
run I did was I came out of COVID. The COVID started, and I think it was global run, and I came out to do a run. And from then on, it just I think it just took off. Running kind of took off for me, and I signed up for half marathon. Then I signed up for Chicago Marathon, and I have this whole. I recorded my journey of Chicago
সো দোস্ত
Marathon. That was the
তোমাকে এখানে একটু থামাই, আমি ওই সময়টা জাস্ট একটু জানতে চাই তোমার মাইন্ড, what was in your mind that 6 months that you were not able to run? What were you thinking after doing that first marathon? What was going through your mind that time?
So I don't remember exactly, but what happened was that I did that marathon. It was good. I enjoyed it. And but what happened was that also it was in November, right? Just after November, the winter comes.
Correct. Okay. The same time,
I
now we
was
are in
never,
November. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. We are in November
and
now.
we all know about running in winter. I was never a person who would go outside and run in the winter.
That's a
And
different
so
ball game. Yeah.
it never crossed my mind that I
Mhm.
would run outside and go outside and run in the winter. So and then the COVID happened. It started in end of February and the March. And those 2-3 months was kind of crazy. Everything was shut off. And the only thing you could do is that you could go to park, right?
But
And
you were running, so you were running on treadmill at that time, winter, or you didn't do running, no running at all that 6 months?
I think I went to gym here and there. I did not. It was not something that I was actively pursuing at that time. I kind of completely took off.
took off that time too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I was also busy at work and stuff like that, so it never came back. So the next time I started running was in after 6 months,
Okay.
and then I signed up for a half marathon. And after I signed up for half marathon, I decided I'm gonna actually train for marathon. This time I'm gonna
Okay.
train for marathon,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna run a marathon.
Perfect. So
And
we're on the,
that's
yeah.
when I signed up for Chicago Marathon.
ওকে, সো দ্যাটস হোয়াট উই আর গেটিং ইনটু। সো তোমার প্রথম ম্যারাথন ছিল শিকাগো ম্যারাথন, এন্ড দর্শকদের জন্য জানানো যে দ্য সেম ম্যারাথন মি এন্ড আলমগীর ran. I think that was in year 2002. When was it?
I think, right?
22,
Was it 2020?
2022. Yes, I
Yeah.
remember. Me, Alomgir, and I believe there was another girl from Bangladesh. She ran. And who else?
Right.
Three of us have a picture actually. I remember that my family, my wife, my kids, they were there at that time. And we had a picture from that event. I remember. It was a beautiful time, Dosto. I hope we can get to do this again sometime. You know,
Yeah,
traveling
absolutely.
and running, it's something I definitely enjoy. Anyway, so going back to your Chicago Marathon, Dosto, share your experience, the training phase. What did you do? How was your training? And run through that to us up to the
Yeah, Chicago
race
Marathon
day.
was, so I kind of, I took that. Remember, I always talk about that book. So I took that book in my heart and I started pursuing it. And what happened was, like, Chicago Marathon, I started, remember, I'm just getting exposed to, and New York has a lot of different weather. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do training for Chicago Marathon, and I'm gonna actually, I will do record everything that I'm doing. And I started posting all my journal on YouTube at that time. And it was just for myself, to be honest, just to keep myself accountable for the
Right.
things that I'm doing. So I will record a little bit of whenever I go out and I run. I will try to also analyze what I'm doing. So I started also watching a lot of different kind of videos about a marathon. So I structured myself a what kind of training I will do to be able to get to the marathon. It was of course, I didn't have a coach or anything. I just had to do it all, figuring it
So
out, how many miles I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it, and then go about it.
yeah, so based pretty much what I understand is that you kind of researched and came up with your own plan,
Right.
followed through.
Hmm.
So what was your longest run prior to that marathon? Do you remember?
So I kind of broke it down into 3 phases, in which I follow for all my marathon now. The first phase is usually where I go freestyle. I run every week, maybe 10, 15 miles first week. So I don't have any structure on those first few weeks, and then I build on that. And the second phase is usually I kind of I call myself a construction phase, where I kind of from the trial phase that I did, from that I gathered that information, how many miles I usually could run in a week. Then I set it up for 3 runs, like a speed run and a long run and a easy run. So those I kind of build a concrete 4 or 5 days of running at least 30 miles. So my goal is to get to the 30 to 32 miles per week. And when I do that, once I get to that level of running 32 miles a week, then I continue on doing that for a few weeks until the marathon, and then I taper it down. So that's basically 3 phases of run that I do. First phase, trial. Second phase, construction. And the third phase is just cementing it. And then you get to the marathon.
I see. Now, the reason I ask actually because a lot of people I know who are listening, they think marathon is 26.2 miles. So you have to run before 26.2 miles before marathon. I mean, there's a lot of talk about that. You don't have to, but based on training, people do
Oh
16
yeah,
miles, 18 miles as a long run, or 20 miles is the most long run. So right before the 3 weeks tapering. So do you remember what was the longest you have run before that official marathon for Chicago? Was it 16,
yeah.
18?
I did 18 miles for Chicago Marathon. I did my longest was 18 miles. So after doing few marathons, what I realized is that Marathon for me, especially, marathon is kind of a celebration. When I go run a marathon, I'm kind of celebrating.
You're training all this
And
you've been through. Yes. That's what they
yes,
say. Yeah, they say it's a day of celebration.
they also went through same kind of like, different kind of training, but we all went through some kind of training to get to that coming together and running together.
To their
And
start
that
line.
is the
Yes.
celebration. And I
Exactly.
find it that is very fascinating, because we all people come from all over the place. They have done a lot of their
Everybody has their
journeys, a
own
lot of different.
story. Exactly. Everybody
Right.
have their own struggle, own challenges. So going back to the
Yeah.
story, yeah, that was my next question actually. Like, did you find any challenges during your training or anything you wanna point out?
Chicago Marathon. Yeah, I mean, I found there were times that I didn't realize that I could do it. Because during, I think, end of the first phase, I went through a medical problem and I had to have a minor surgery. And so for that, I couldn't run for like almost 4 weeks.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that, so not running 4 weeks, then you had also, there was Ramadan.
Okay.
So a combination of these things, I think I couldn't run for 4 to 6 weeks. And then I signed up for, uh, before that happened, I signed up for a half marathon, which was RBC half marathon with Brooklyn.
Right.
So, for half marathon, you also have to train. So I didn't run 4 to 6 weeks. Then the marathon came, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna go participate in the marathon because I didn't train. I didn't run for 6 weeks. So, and with that injured, I mean, I decided to run, and
Yeah.
so it was that was tough. And but I finished the half marathon. And from then on, I was able to get back to training, and then yeah, that was then
I mean,
that was the
that's one
struggle.
thing is definitely thanks for sharing that struggle. I mean, we all go through that either any other form during any training, and that's what it is. Marathon kind of gives you that strength or self belief, I believe, that you can do it no matter what. Once you set up your mind to something, I feel like that marathon does it for me. It gives me that power, empowers you. And
Right, right, yeah,
it
yeah,
is like it gives you that strength that you can do it if you really want to. I mean, you always have that option, right? You can always just, okay, I'm not gonna do it, but you did it. So
right,
that's all
right,
it matters.
right,
And
right.
now the next question, Dustos. I know you said you've done 3 marathons so far. First was Chicago officially, then the New York City, and the third one is recently, right? The
The
Maine. I'm
main
sorry,
Bar Harbor, yeah.
Maine Bar Harbor. So out of these three, which one you like the most?
Sorry, hold on. Out of those three, which one I like the most?
I mean, overall, like your running course wise, your everything is. I mean, if you have to grade or rate out of
I
these
mean, if
three,
you have to
any favorite?
grade, there are few things. One is the which one was the easiest? Chicago, of course.
Not an
Which one was the
easiest one.
hard,
Oh, you mean the easiest for you to? Okay.
easiest to finish? Yeah. It was less hard work, I would say, in a sense that um, this it's not. I mean, Chicago is fun city to run, but it was not. It was easy to navigate because
This
there
was a
was not
flat
a lot
course.
of
It was, yeah,
flat
compared to
course,
New
right?
York. New York, yeah.
So
How,
the most fun I would say was New York actually, um, because the whole city come this is there's nothing
unbelievable.
like it.
Yes.
This is like whole city come out, and the energy and the whole
It's
thing.
mind blowing when you come down from that Queens Bridge and you make that right on the First
Yeah,
Avenue. People are just. I remember, man, the first
yeah,
marathon. I was like that time when you have. I was pretty much walking. That's when you kind of like 16 or 17 mile, and I had this cough. Like my cough was really bothering me, so I had to walk. And I remember that crowd cheering, like you couldn't stop. Like whole electrifying environment. It's kind of like pushes you. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's just a whole different feeling. And New York City is one of the world major. যারা জানেন না তাদের জন্য বলছি, নিউ ইয়র্ক সিটি হচ্ছে one of the world major. So there are 6 major in marathon. New York and Chicago
right.
is 2. You already done 2 world major. 4 to go, dosto.
You
So
already done 5, but waiting for your
Alhamdulillah,
6th one.
dosto. Alhamdulillah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the opportunity that I got, and I hopefully I get to finish my journey. That's my
Yeah,
goal,
absolutely.
to finish all 6. And
Yeah.
so you are, so yeah, so you did all 3, fantastic. So what's next for you? I mean, we are almost at the end of our show. We're gonna
Hmm.
conclude, but before, so what is that you want to share? I mean, what is your next plan? Do you have any running goals or running aspiration, dream you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, the way I think of running is that, marathon running is that, I shared that with you earlier. It's a celebration. Yeah, it's a goal that I set out for myself. It's not a destination. It's just a goal. The journey is what I
Enjoy.
kind of enjoy. So each marathon I set out for myself is to have a different experience. So I feel like, I will do this as often as I could, at least once a year. And if I would do a different state in each year, and also take my family with me. They also, my wife also enjoys, so it makes it easier.
My next guest will be Dilara. So please give my message to Dilara. I would love to have her on my show. And I know Dilara, for the audience, she just finished a New York City Marathon. Amazing.
Yeah,
Congratulations. I cheered for
very
Dilara
good.
and Ratri. Hopefully they get to come on my show.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm looking forward to talk to them. That's fantastic. Amazing. You are a marathon
yeah,
runner. Your wife is a marathon runner. It's just fantastic. So
yeah.
happy for you.
Yeah. So it's great. It's good for we feel good about running. So we hope to pray to God that, that we are able to run. That's it.
That's it. Fantastic, Dosto. I wish you all the best on your journey with running and all the
Yeah.
things that you do in life. Keep us in your prayer and stay healthy. Keep running. And thank
Yeah.
you
Thank
for
you. Thank you,
thank you for
Dusto,
your
for
time,
having me.
Dosto. I appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward to seeing you again. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you
All
again.
right.
Thank you
Okay.
everyone for watching the show. See you next time. Allah
Take
Hafiz.
care.